Look, this is more than just a story about a fast horse. It's about a legend, a horse who did something an entire sport had basically decided was impossible. This is the story of American Pharoah.
I mean, for nearly 4 decades, the greatest prize in horse racing was just untouchable. A whole generation grew up believing it just couldn't be done anymore. You had champion after champion try, and every single time they'd fail.
So how did one horse, just one, kick that door clean off its hinges? That's the question we're digging into. How did this one animal, in one incredible season, completely shatter a myth that had haunted the entire sport? All right, let's get into it.
To really get what he accomplished, you first have to understand the mountain he had to climb. And we're not just talking about a record. This was a psychological wall.
37 years. Let that sink in for a second. That's longer than a lot of professional athletes' entire careers. The drought went on for so long that people, fans, experts, even trainers started coming up with all these theories for why it was literally impossible now. You'd hear things like, oh, modern horses are just bred for pure speed. They don't have that rugged stamina anymore. The challenge itself just felt broken.
So what is this wall we're talking about? Well, it's the Triple Crown. And to win it, you have to win 3 of the toughest, most elite races on the planet back to back to back, all inside of just 5 weeks. I mean, it is a brutal, brutal test of speed, stamina, and just pure heart.
And you can just feel the heartbreak when you look at this timeline. After Affirmed won, way back in 1978, it's like a door just slammed shut. 13 times, 13 different horses got so close. They won the first 2 races, only to fall at that last final hurdle. The dream just died, over and over again, right up until 2015.
And then, this guy shows up. American Pharoah, born in 2012. And yeah, you're seeing that right. Pharoah spelled with an O-A-H. That famous misspelling actually became part of his legend. He was the horse who came along and reminded everyone that history is never really finished. It's just waiting for the right champion to show up.
Now, a legend like this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. I mean, American Pharoah was an absolute superstar, no doubt. But he was one link in a powerful chain of decision makers who had to get every single thing right.
And that winning chain has 3 really crucial links. You've got the owner, who takes the gamble, the trainer, who's the architect of the champion, and the jockey, who's the pilot that has to execute it all in the heat of the moment.
And here's the thing. Each role is completely indispensable. You had the owner, Zayat Stables, who put up the money and the faith. The trainer, Bob Baffert, had the insane job of managing the horse's health through that grueling schedule. And then the jockey, Victor Espinoza, had to be flawless, making those split-second decisions on the track. If even one of those links is weak, history just doesn't happen.
So with that team in place, it was time. Time to go chase the ghost that had been haunting horse racing for 37 years. The quest was on.
I mean, just look at this schedule. It's an absolute meat grinder. He wins the Kentucky Derby on May 2nd. Just 2 weeks later, he's got to win the Preakness. And then, only 3 weeks after that, comes the final grueling test. You can just imagine the pressure building with each win.
And this is what it all comes down to. The Belmont Stakes isn't just another race. They literally call it the test of the champion. It's longer and tougher than the other 2, and it's basically designed to expose any weakness in a horse that's already been through the ringer. This is where those other 13 hopefuls had all failed.
But on June 6, 2015, American Pharoah didn't fail. He didn't just win, he absolutely dominated. The 37-year wait was finally incredibly over. The wall had been smashed to pieces. And with that one victory, he punched his ticket into one of the most exclusive clubs in all of sports. He was now just the 12th horse in history to ever win the Triple Crown, a true immortal.
Now, for most champions, that would be it. End of story. Retire a hero, protect the legacy. But American Pharoah's team, they had a different idea. They wanted to do something that no one had ever done before.
Okay, so this is a really key distinction to make. The Triple Crown is for the best 3-year-olds. It's a test of a single age group. The Breeders' Cup Classic, on the other hand, is basically the World Championship. You're facing off against older, stronger, more experienced horses. It's a completely different level of competition.
And get this, no Triple Crown winner had ever managed to pull this off. Winning the Triple Crown is exhausting enough as it is. To then go and face the best of the best in the fall was considered pretty much an impossible epilogue.
So by taking on this challenge, American Pharoah wasn't just defending his title, he was completely redefining what a perfect season could even be. This is where his story went from being about breaking a curse to being about pure, total domination. He was aiming for a grand slam all his own.
And he did it. Of course he did. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic in his final race ever. So let's look at the legacy he left behind, the undeniable proof of his greatness.
Just look at the numbers. In only 11 career starts, he won 9 times. That's a staggering win rate at this level. And over $8.6 million in earnings? That proves he did it on the biggest stages against the toughest competition out there. And, the sport made it official. He was unanimously voted Horse of the Year. That's the highest honor in American racing, and of course, the champion of his age group. There was simply no debate about who ruled the sport in 2015.
But his legacy goes way beyond trophies. Culturally, he made horse racing a national conversation again. You had people who never watched the sport tuning in just to see him run. And genetically, he's continued his winning ways as a stallion, passing on his elite traits to a whole new generation of winners.
And really, this is the final takeaway. American Pharoah's greatest achievement wasn't just winning races. It was shattering that collective sense of doubt that had settled over the sport for decades. He proved the impossible was still possible, which leaves a big question for the future. Who's going to be next?